We will now begin with the second technical session of the day, which is the seventh technical session of the overall workshop on the topic ebook collection development, a case study of IISC Bangalore by Dr. Anand Byrappa, who is the head of JRD Tata Memorial Library, IISC Bangalore. He has done his information and knowledge management course from Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. He is a GE certified Six Sigma Black Belt. He has an experience in leading global operations in various areas covering digital libraries, business information services, corporate communications, research services, and knowledge management. He has also served at Deutsche Bank Group, Z Media Group, and General Electric. Dr. Anand has served on Scopus Content Selection and Advisory Board and is a recipient of Global Knowledge Management Leadership Award. He has been honored by listing his name in 50 most influential knowledge management professionals. Government of Karnataka has honored him with Best Librarian Award. He is also a winner of Vikram Sarabhai Operational Excellence Award. Dr. Anand's areas of interest include knowledge management, digital libraries, Six Sigma, intellectual property, scholarly content, and publishing. Over to you, Anand sir.
Thank you so much for a nice introduction, and also it's my privilege to be associated with Dr. Sri and Geo University. So he asked me to give a talk. I said, what talk should I give? So I was telling about some experience we had in, collection development in the form of ebooks. Sri said probably we can share that. So I would like to spend some time on, our experience in, spending about 1 crore rupees for ebooks. And even for me, spending so much of time on subscriptions and digital resources, there are a lot of fresh, experiences. So I thought it will help all of us. Now, the presentation plan, what I have is, so very quickly we look at, to set the context, ebooks versus print books. What are the difficulties we really face in libraries and how we can really iron out them. Then, general ebooks, very quickly we can look at, in ebooks, there is a lot of scope and visibility for general books and very less for textbooks and, STM books, ebooks and all. We'll take you through that. And then collection development plan at IISC, how we went about, what we did, what is our experience with publishers, and also our, insights for all our fellow colleagues, whoever wants to really spend money on ebooks, and one slide on overall experience and giving summary about that. So I hope that's good enough to give you some kind of a, meaningful talk. Now, publishing print versus ebooks, it's very, we all have seen how the books in the print format will go through, what are the steps they go through, and how we really follow that. And this slide very clearly explains this thing. In the print world, when we really want to print a book, first we get the content, and then we will aggregate the whole content, and then we do the production. Then marketing will happen, marketing and then distribution. Once the publishing is done, we market about book, write about that, we do reviews and all of that, and then we do the distribution. Afterwards, sale happens, and then, that's how it really works in the print book world. It's just very straightforward kind of a thing, not linked to digital or thermal gadgets, not linked to the online platforms, and not linked to the ebook readers and all kind of a thing. Whereas if you look at the way now ebooks are getting published, as you see here, most of them are common except in two areas. One is content, it's same more or less. Aggregation, it happens, of course, in digital way. And then production, here if you really look at this, and there is a change there. And, you need to really do some extra steps there. Then we do marketing. And also, if you really carefully look at here, in the area of production, we are not printing a book. Sorry? Somebody has some clarification or a question?
No, sir. Please proceed, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So when it comes to production, we don't really, if you look at here, no printing here, only editing and digital production happens. That is one thing. In marketing, and then here if you see, setup of content management system is required when it comes to ebook, which is not really required in the print world. So ebook is always linked to content management system, both for printing and also publishing, and now also to really do sales as well. So that's a very different listing in the ebook world, and then sale will happen. And this is the one or two steps change in the production of ebook. This is just to set the context. So we will have a CMS and we will have an online editing and all kind of a thing. So as I mentioned, digital production, CMS, and a thermal device. These are the three things which are really required when you really move from print publication to the online publication. And thermal device, like in the next slide I'll show, it's very important to observe how major players like Amazon, Barnes and Noble, all of them came with their own device to really support the promotion, reading, and the usage of the ebooks. So that we'll observe. So there are a lot of fundamental changes when it comes to producing the ebook. Now, if you look at general books, so in electronic format, the general book market is really dominated by the ebook format, except novels. But I would like to show some details about how this domain is shaping up. Now, if you look at, this is some global metrics, how things are really happening in ebook general, in the ebooks, which are general in nature. And then if you really look at the key players in the ebook market in general, so Amazon we have, and Apple we have, then Kobo and Barnes and Noble Nook. These are all the players. I mean, these are all the ebook gadgets, thermal devices I talked about. So each of them came with to promote their ebooks getting published globally. And these are the actual pictures of those ebook readers. And all these major publishers also promoted these ebook readers along with their content. And they thought, they'll give not only the advantage to users, and they also give a better experience when it comes to reading the ebook getting published by all these players. So generally, if you look at these things, it could be Amazon, it could be Apple, Barnes and Noble, or Kobo, whatever is that. They are not really visible in the library domain, both in India and abroad. So what is the reason for that? Why they are not really, visible or popular in the LIS domain in libraries across the world? So the reason for that is Amazon, Apple, and all these players are really not publishers. They're all aggregators. They're getting books negotiated from major publishers. And since they get content from other publishers, they'll not be able to give exclusive rights, or they'll not have any flexibility to provide access rights what end users need, particularly in libraries. If you look at libraries, we are all negotiating content for our end users. So then here, these Amazon and all these players, aggregators, they get content from their publishers to really sell to customers. So they're all positioned themselves to sell content to the end customer and not to they're a B2C player, not a B2B player. So that's why, we will not be able to really get books from Amazon. As an individual, we can go and buy a book from Amazon. For a library, it's very difficult to really, absolutely impossible to get as of now. So because they are not positioned, themselves to sell the content and ebooks and all of them to the libraries which comes under B2B kind of a thing. So that's the really reason why we don't really get any of these books. But of course, there are one or two aggregators which are exceptional in the world who really got into B2B libraries and who really became very successful. One of the example I have seen is, I'll skip that, Overdrive. Overdrive is a US-based aggregator, again, getting content. In US, somehow they flex their terms and conditions. They become very, very popular in public library system of US. And it really worked out very well. Of course, they went through a lot of challenges, but that is still live and it's going on. At the same time, in many corporates in India, Overdrive is becoming very popular. It is more or less being positioned as more as an ebook platform, ebook aggregator, wherein you see the content, you buy whatever you want, and you get to see what you have bought and things like that. We all know, being librarians, that so far we don't really have any publisher independent ebook platform. We don't have anything. Even if you look at major publishers like Elsevier, Springer, Wiley, all of them, all their ebooks are really sitting along with their journal platforms. So that way, it's an integrated, we really need Overdrive kind of a platform, which is publisher independent, which gives flexibility for libraries to buy books from different platforms and also host on a single platform. So that way, Overdrive is largely successful. There are still a lot of areas, concerns to iron out. Some books which we buy from other publishers may not be, compatible with the Overdrive platform and things like that. But in my opinion, as far as my knowledge goes, Overdrive is the most accepted platform globally, at least in US, to really host the books and all kind of a thing. So it really solves multiple problems of librarians. You don't need to go to publishers, you need to go to aggregators to identify, select, and buy the book. Overdrive itself offers that in association with publishers at the backend. So, and also it gives you a very good search interface, and it also helps you to really track the usage and all of that. So that way it's a, very, acceptable kind of a platform for ebooks. I have seen a couple of corporates in India also having access to this, and they're successfully using, and users really love that interface and all kind of a thing. It's really good. And some of you, if you want to experiment with, ebook aggregators like Overdrive, you can really do that. This platform is available for Indian market as well. Now, so that's about general books. If you look at scientific and technical ebooks, these are the major players. I guess Springer is the largest publisher of books, and then probably Elsevier, Wiley, Aggregators, and Pearson. And if you really look at here, one second. If you really look at here, major science and technology publishers are listed here. Almost all titles are in ebook format, hosts on e-journal platform. So no publisher has a separate platform for ebooks. Everything is getting hooked onto their existing journal platforms. Rights negotiable, so we can always negotiate rights. Though they come out with a standard set of things, they are flexible to really negotiate. And then price as well. There is nobody pays list price in the online world. Everything is negotiable, and people are agreeing to negotiate. And there are a lot of flexible terms and conditions we can negotiate as well. So that's our experience during building the ebook collection at IISC. Now, give you more details about IISC collection development case study. Last year and before last year, when COVID came in, like any other institute, IISC also thought of moving away from classroom-based teaching to the online teaching. That's when all our faculty at IISC decided to identify the available ebooks for teaching purpose. Then we all got together and we looked at all our syllabus and prescribed books and all. So in total, we identified about, okay, let me tell you this. So the story here, as I said, once we know the list of books, 500 plus books we identified, then as soon as we know that, we started doing needs mapping, in the sense, which are the books required of which department, which division and all kind of a thing. And then we all identified who are the publishers for those books. And then we contacted all available major publishers to seek the price and all other quotes. Then afterwards, we looked at the licensing terms. It's very interesting. Each publisher has their own licensing terms and conditions. One or two of them has a very crazy terms and conditions. I'll talk about that going forward. And eventually, we had to cancel subscription of those books because of the crazy and very biased one-sided terms and conditions. And then we did negotiate price. So all of them, as I said, are flexible. Though they quote the price, list price, they really are flexible, and we can really negotiate terms and conditions. And then access details, training and usage monitoring and all are a new experience for us. As soon as we enabled access, we went on training the users how to use those books, and we also listed all the ebooks what we bought onto the departmental website. We went to department website, we looked at each paper they teach, they have mentioned there, and we linked all those things to there. Of course, we cataloged and kept every record on the OPAC, and so we tried to give multiple access points to ebooks, and they're really very well used. And coming back to the next one, so in terms of needs mapping, so total books recommended by faculty were 256 from 50 plus different publishers. It's a marathon, this thing, and most of them were single titles from publishers. Recommended titles were society by societies, scored by publishers. Then we contacted major publishers, remaining one or two titles based publishers, we did not approach them. Instead of that, we went and tried to get some price details and all from aggregators. So that way we thought of simplifying the librarian's job. We did that. And so we did negotiations, we went ahead. Here, some observations while doing that exercise of contacting publishers, negotiating price and a very interesting thing. Not all required books are available in the digital format. It's very interesting. For example, if you go to a publisher like McGraw-Hill, they don't publish some of very significant percentage of their books in the digital format. McGraw-Hill is very strong in textbook-based books because they don't have required license, or they have not negotiated with authors. They missed opportunity to really publish all the books what they have in the print format. So as a librarian, when you're looking for, when you get a request for a McGraw-Hill book, there is no guarantee that that book is available in the e-format. So that's the thing we figured it out during our exercise. Then access models available in ebook industry are very, very different. What it means, if you want to drive uniform terms and conditions to provide access to your ebooks, that's not going to be possible because the industry itself is not ready, and each publishers will have a different terms and conditions. It's not that publishers don't want to really make their terms and conditions and access uniform, because they're governed by the content owners, and many content owners, particularly in the textbook world, they're reluctant to really give the blanket rights or perpetual access rights and all of that, because authors fear that they may lose a lot of revenue going forward. And they also think that the moment you put book online, you are more vulnerable for copying and plagiarism and all kind of thing. That is the perception with the publishers, also with the premier authors. That's what we figured out. Then perpetual access, one-time payment is really possible with Wiley, Cambridge University Press, Oxford University Press, Elsevier, and Springer. So they give all these things. Then actual license, subscription model, annual license and subscription models are available with Wiley and Cambridge University Press. And multi-year subscription model is available at Pearson. Pearson is one publisher. Probably the people who are working with CFTS and universities may not have great experience with Pearson, but Pearson content is very popular in textbooks, particularly in K-12 area. And so Pearson is one publisher who was offering all their books, ebooks, on perpetual access. COVID has really made their board to really think and change their models. In fact, Pearson completely moved away from perpetual model to fixed years subscription. For example, if you go to Pearson now, they will not give you perpetual access, which they used to offer earlier. COVID has made them to look at and change terms and conditions. That's what I heard when I was discussing for negotiations books. And they can give you for some years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years kind of a thing, and you can't go beyond that. So the ebooks are really, if you really want to address licensing, access terms, uniformity and all, a lot of challenges. And you still end up having multiple licensing terms, multiple access types, and multiple types of agreements. Uniformity is ruled out. There is no way you can really drive uniform licensing terms when it comes to ebooks, even with major publishers. And so at the same time, it's not every book is available in ebook format, even with major publishers. So if any library claims that have all the books in the e-format, that's not going to be true. And so that's what we experienced when we were dealing with all the publishers. However, some people are really, for them also it's a learning that we all thought COVID can drive for long term having ebooks and making access uniform. So they also trying to really go back and think and see if they can really give the models which are really adaptable by libraries. So that's the kind of experience we had with them. Now, if you look at now, so publishers really drive access. There is no really negotiation point in terms of access because it's driven by their IT model, their policy, and all kind of thing. Price can be negotiated, but access models are not really negotiable. This they have there as a policy, and if they have implemented from technology point of view. So if it is not there, it's not there, as simple as that. So we can't really, even if you negotiate, there's a scope for negotiation. That's what it is. Now, IP-based campus-wide access rights with view, print, and download options are very common for us. We have seen that. That's what we are driving as a librarians. This is where Elsevier does this, Wiley does, Springer does. And again, Wiley may not have all their books available to provide on IP-based unlimited access. Some books are really exceptional. Whereas in journals, these publishers are very different. All of them are really accessible. All of them are come with uniform access terms because they publish all of them. When it comes to books, they are written by individual authors. Sometimes individual authors might not have given the blanket agreement like the way publishers have in terms of in case of journals. So that's why you see that ebooks are going to be very different, and the access point of view, they are not as simple, as seamless, as uniform as journals. So that's our experience. Then limited downloads also is a case with some publishers, particularly if you look at some Pearson, for example, when we were negotiating with Pearson, and there was a limitation saying that you can download only some part of the book, And afterwards, they allow some blockers which will stop you not to get access to that. So that's another problem. And some publishers will give read-only access, and that's also there. So app-based offline reading, some publishers really have offline. So that is actually Pearson. You can have an offline browser, and a book will get downloaded to offline browser, and you can really access and experience different kind of a reading. So when it comes to these apps and all kind of a thing. So if you look at all these things, building ebook collection, driving access requires a lot more attention, and it's not blanketly going and negotiating the price, enabling access. Terms and conditions are not uniform, and some books may not be available, and some books may have apps. And the other thing is, say for example, I was talking about Pearson. I can be very open because it's our community and all LIS professionals. We identified about, we got a request for about 40 to 50 books from Pearson. We went ahead, we looked at, we negotiated, prices agreed and everything. Then we asked them to send the license agreement. When I was going through license agreement, that license agreement had 15 pages. And I was looking at all of that. No other publisher had, such a big license agreement. All of them will have 2 to 4, 5 pages, and that's it. And this Pearson came with 15, 16 pages agreement. When I went through that, honestly, I'll tell you, that was totally one-sided agreement. All written to safeguard Pearson's rights and all of that. They never thought they can give any right to the buyer who is paying so much of money and trying to access. For example, one of the class which made us to cancel the whole subscription and access to Pearson is, if you want to really copy a sentence or, sentence from Pearson books, you are expected to write to them and take written permission. Until you get a written permission, you are not supposed to put that sentence in your document or paper, whatever is that, which is unheard, which is not practical. And why should we really, sign up such agreements, which will put your organization to risk, which will be, blocking access, and unnecessarily we put organization to risk. We came back and we went to our committee, we explained to that, this is not the one which we should sign. And so if you sign, you'll be putting your organization to risk. Then we canceled it. And Pearson went back, they said they discussed with the leadership and came back. Then I was asking them, why are you really, sending that kind of a ridiculous one-sided agreement terms? And then I came to know that Pearson is very popular in K-12 area, in school sections. And generally in schools, with due respect to all of them, they don't really bother too much about license agreements, but all of them, they simply they ask for negotiation if they get more, and they sign up without really looking at agreements. But we being premier organizations, we can be in limelight for any wrong reason very soon. So I thought we should be careful, and we can't really put our organization to risk. So that was the thing we went through. So we went through very, rigorously. We made sure that we observed license agreement. We went through license agreements in negotiated prices. We closely worked with our faculty, and we made sure that whatever, say, out of 500 plus books, we could only add about 200 plus books. Remaining to more than 50%, approximately 50% books, we couldn't really get. Except Pearson, all others, they had limitations. They had no books. What we required was in e-format and things like that. So experience here is what I thought. It's not easy to buy all the required books because publishers themselves, they don't have. So we should be extra careful out of that. So that way, we should look at OEMs, open educational materials, NDLI, and all these resources, see what we really get. Probably those things can give, very useful and required content sometimes. Now also, coming back to IISC experience, this is how we looked at, I've hidden the price actually from confidentiality point of view. So we've contacted all these publishers, for example, first column, YD, CUP, Pearson, Elsevier, Springer, OUP, Taylor and Francis, and other titles, IEEE, MIT, McGraw-Hill. These are the top 10 publishers we contacted. So we got a number of titles from each publishers, what we wanted. And we got all of that, about 200 books we got. Then we contacted, we negotiated the price, all of that. Then if you really look at, this is another slide. I can share this slide, you can really have a look at this. And this is the number of books ultimately we got with price. So in total, out of 500, we could able to get only 213 books. So imagine only 50% of the books in science and technology we could able to source, in spite of we contacting all publishers and all kind of thing. So here are some statistics thing. For 213 books, after negotiation. That is the exercise we did, and very, lot of experience. So in summary, not all books are available in the ebook format, even from the major publishers. That we need to remember. Different access models, as I explained, some of them will offer app-based access, some of them will offer only on their platform, some of them will give, ID and password based. So there are different access models. So you can't drive uniform access models unless you have a platform, for example, like Overdrive. Again, Overdrive may not be compatible to host all other ebooks from different publishers, except unless you subscribe to Overdrive, and you will not be able to buy independently and host on Overdrive. There are some limitations as well. Here, different price points. Some publishers' average price of an ebook will be around $200 to $300. Some people will price in such a way that for organization they price it 2 times to 3 times the original price or the MRP. We have seen that as well. But in the ebook world, people are really flexible. We can negotiate price, and no guarantee of perpetual rights. As I said, whatever book you buy, don't think that the book is available for perpetual access. Mostly not possible. Some are available, but not all. Then, as I said, COVID really influenced ebook access and pricing models. Access models, I give you Pearson example, who was offering perpetual access to all their books, moved away from perpetual based access to fixed years. And then also pricing models, they're very different. And of course, you can also negotiate and drive all of that. That is there. And you also get mark records, and those things are really common. So whatever. I think we should really explore and give feedback to the aggregators to really help us to strengthen, position themselves with us as a publisher independent platform for ebooks. For example, Overdrive is one thing which I talked about that, which is very popular in US, and many corporates in India are using that well. So that's a very established and proven kind of a platform. Of course, there are little limitations, but I think some of us should collaborate with them and drive, work with them to help them to really position such nice globally approved platforms to make available for libraries to use that as a publisher independent platform to host and access ebooks. And then EBSCO, which is globally known for aggregating content, and they have delivered and enabled access to many aggregator databases. And EBSCO is the other thing which can really come out and really offer with enhanced features to host different books from different publishers on the EBSCO platform. Now, all these things, the limitations they have is whatever they have gone and negotiated with publishers, only that content is available, and that way they are aggregators. but they're not really ready or flexible or don't have rights negotiated with publisher to host what library buys. So that way, that's what we really require. And the need for libraries today for ebooks is we really need the publisher independent ebook platform. Then the access to books, visibility to books, and also usage of books will go up. And the experience of browsing a book is really different from experience of browsing a journal article. So that all of us will realize, we're missing to give that experience of reading a book on the platforms because we don't have a ebook specific platform, unless in the general books area, what I explained. For example, Kindle, Barnes and Noble's listing and all those things. Why they designed those ebook gadgets are to give that experience. For example, imagine the kind of experience we get when you read a novel on the Kindle platform. I mean, the kind of voice you can, increase or decrease, and the resolution, and a lot of experience, font, speed of the text to read all of that. None of them are really available in the journal platforms, which is for a serious reader. But that's okay. But that's not the platform ideal for promoting and driving ebooks in a library environment. I think we need one of these aggregators to scale up and really come out and really help us to give a better experience to our users to really deserve that kind of experience. Now, my last slide. Really look at make ebooks part of subject guides. This is about if you want to really promote ebooks. Many of us are experienced in creating subject guides, and see if we can really make them part of the subject guide so that visibility will be more. When visibility is more, usage can really go up. And then integrate ebook titles to course papers. As I said, we went to departments and we looked at their website. Wherever they mentioned about course references and all, we went and tried to really link that, because many students and faculty, they often go to their department website and they try to access content. So we thought of giving multiple access points to ebooks. So we explored that as well. You all can really do that as well. And then add ebook titles to respective department website. I covered this so that way. So it's important to understand the changing trends, the problems in the ebook world, and the models which are really different from publisher to publisher, and pricing we need to negotiate. Licensing terms sometimes can be very cunning, and if you don't really seriously look at the agreements, and it may put you into trouble, both organizations. I gave you an example. So that way we need to be extra careful with all these things. And of course, update all the market records and make your OPAC up to date. And that's briefly what I had. So that's the experience I wanted to share with all of you.